Welcome to Building My Legacy podcast. This podcast is designed for leaders and entrepreneurs who want to leave a legacy and will provide strategies that focus upon key elements for legacy creation, determining your desired impact and its benefit, increasing your legacy's reach by engaging key stakeholders, planning, prioritizing, and executing. Here's your host, Dr. Lois Sonstegard.
Welcome to Build Your Legacy podcast. I'm so excited to have you with us. This is Lois Sonstegard. We're going to have an exciting time talking about how do you build your legacy and what does that really mean? You know, when I first was developing my leadership skills, I was very much focused on how to be a good leader. And so I was very engaged in all of the different components of that. But once you get so you feel comfortable and secure and you know that you're being a good leader, then the question comes, what am I doing this for? What's next? What do I do with this? And can I influence more than just this? And so we begin to look at how do we make a contribution? What's my legacy going to be? And for some of us, that's simply about building good relationships and leaving those behind. For others of us, it's having our names on everything, buildings, books, papers, wherever we can put it, we want our names. For some of us, it's how do we influence the next generation so that they'll really care and want to make an impact on their world? So there's many ways we can look at legacy. Each of us will have to define it for ourselves. And so in order to help us do that, I have put together this podcast series, and I have invited some fascinating, wonderful, exciting leaders who are doing a variety of things from all over the world to share with us, what does it mean to build a legacy? When did they begin to think about that? What's important to them in building a legacy? And what's the process? What kind of suggestions do they have for those of us in the process of building a legacy? What kind of support mechanisms and networks do they need to put in place? The questions go on. And so we're going to try and answer those questions in this podcast series. It's going to be very, very interesting. And I think that it will open all of our eyes to what the possibilities are for what we can do. But most importantly, it begins to have us really reflect and think deeply about what is it that we want to leave behind? How do we want to define that? And how are we going to go about creating it? So I can't wait to have you on this podcast with me and go on this journey with me because it truly will be inspiring. Look forward to seeing you on the next podcast.
You've been listening to Building My Legacy podcast with Dr. Lois Sonstegard. To book your appointment with Dr. Sonstegard, visit www.buildtomorrow.com.